Poison Teeth here, and I thought about this a lot. And I know I've only had my YouTube channel for a week, but my story is something that's always been really important to me, and it's kind of just thinking about it and thinking about how far I've come oh my god, I'm gonna tear up already, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try not to be too emotional in this video, but this is something very hard for me to talk about, even now when I'm not in a situation where I really have much reason to be sad. So let's start from the beginning. I have a really good memory. So the first thing I actually remember is when I was almost 2. I was like 1 and like 9 months, I think. I was taken by the police into a police car, and I remember that it was a female officer, and I got in the back, and I could already walk. I was a very smart little child. My first word was when I was like 8 months. No, less than that. But I don't know. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is that the first memory I have is being taken into this police car by a female officer, and then that's my first memory. So needless to say, my childhood was it was good up until then. My mom and me had a very strong relationship, but it didn't last very long, obviously. So what happened is my mother was on the run from the police, and my dad was in jail. And my dad wasn't even there at my birth because he's kind of been in and out of jail his entire life. My mother was on the run because she was done with probation, but my grandmother called the probation officer, and the probation officer came, and we had left because Mom had gotten into a fight with Grandma, because my grandma's kind of just been ripping off Mom her entire life. Just like, she had stocks from my great-grandpa, her grandpa, and my grandma cashed them in, and then blew all that money, and we don't even know what it was on. Then my mom had a down payment on a house from her grandpa, and my grandma, forged her signature and sold the house, and took all that money and went to live in California, because that's where she's always wanted to live. And then when my mother went to jail, she's never been to prison, but she went to jail for a while. My grandma said that she couldn't get a hold of my mother when my mother was trying to get a hold of her, and I was in foster care for that time being. So what happened is my grandma forged my mother's signature again, took me, and then took me to Minnesota from Las Vegas, because that's where I was born, in Vegas. So when my mom got out, she called my grandma and was like, "Where's my child?" And my grandma says, "We're in Minnesota, but if you even try to come get her, I will call the cops, and you will never see her again, and we'll disappear. I'll take her somewhere." So I remember that conversation. I've never brought that up to my grandma because I lived with her for 12 and a half years. So I never brought that up to her, but I remember that conversation. We were standing outside Leanne Chin, and I remember that conversation. Then I remember that we got a new phone and moved. Like, we were living in one part of Minnesota, and we moved to Hopkins. And we got a completely new phone. I started going to a new school, because I was going into first grade. And everything just completely changed, just to make sure that my mom wouldn't come get us. I had a really good childhood. I remember I lived in California for a long time with my grandmother, and then we moved to Minnesota once my mom got out, because my mom had some warrants there from when she was still with my father, since my father is not, like, he tries to get his life together, but it always ends up not working, because he just does something that completely goes against everything that he should have done. What next? Oh yeah, so I had a very good childhood. When I was in Minnesota, I went to a school called Ramsey from 1st through 3rd grade, and I was in a church choir, I was in the choir at school, I was in plays at school because Miss Mason, the music and director of the plays, the music teacher and director of the plays, liked me. So what happened is I was in a lot of the plays, and in the choir concerts. Um, I started playing first and second chair of violin in 1st grade, and I've carried that up till now. So 9 years of violin now, almost 10. Um, then in 3rd grade, my grandma found art school for me called Fair Crystal, and starting 4th grade through 8th grade, I went there. Now, I wasn't picked to be in any of the musicals, any of the plays. Um, in 4th grade, I joined kind of. It was a very cliqued school. Let's just say that it was a very cliqued school. And in 4th grade, I kind of got together with the bullies. So I would bully kids, but after 4th grade, I did not want to be a bully anymore. Like, I did not like seeing other people in pain because of me. And I'm a very mean person if someone's mean to me. But it's like these kids were like not doing anything to me. And I was like, I don't want to be mean anymore. So I don't want to be friends with you guys anymore. So then through 8th grade, the bullies bullied me as one of their main targets. And then in 5th grade, I kind of liked this girl, Olivia. Like, she was a good friend of mine, but she was the leader of kind of like the perfects. And none of the other girls in the perfects liked me, but Olivia was the leader, so they couldn't do anything to me. Well, in 6th grade, Olivia left, so the perfects and the bullies started being really mean to me, like, all the time, and I was getting bullied a lot. But I was a pretty positive kid, and I was a friend with a lot of the teachers. Like, I would give the teachers hugs every single morning, and, like, hug them before I left, just because I liked the teachers so much. Like, I liked school, so it was okay. I was getting very good grades despite me being bullied, and I never stood up for myself. But in 6th grade, I did find a really good group of kids who are still my best friends to this day. And I mean, I always had Kayla back at Emerald Point. In 7th grade, Kayla moved, so I didn't get to see her very much anymore. But 7th grade, at the end of the year, it kind of started kind of going downhill. Um, the bullying was absolutely horrible. I had a huge fight with one of my ex-boyfriends, Rowan, and that's how we broke up. And then he started going over to my lunch table because he used to be part of like this group of friends I had, and he was the art teacher's son. So he started changing. Like, he started hanging out with like the perfects, some of the perfects, and some of the bullies, and that was just like really bad because they all liked to bully me and my ex-boyfriend, who used to be really sweet to me. And then he completely changed. Like, he used to be like chubby and really short and sweet. He like worked out, he got really tall, and he started like just being really mean, like, to me and my entire friend group, just to get revenge on me. He started being really rude to all my friends, and that gave me anxiety that my friends wouldn't want to be friends with me anymore because they didn't want to be bullied so badly by um my ex-boyfriend. And he would go over to our table and be like, bitches, faggots, fuckers, you should all go die. And like my friend Kat, she was already like not doing well, so she would like start cutting because of him. And I was just like, I just had no idea what to do. So finally he like flicked us all off, and one of the teachers saw, and they're like, well, has he done anything like this before? And we're all like, yes, he's been absolutely horrible to us for like this entire year because we broke up. And it's just mind-blowing. But the thing is, even though we told on him, he got suspended, but he could not be expelled no matter what he did to us because his mother was one of the teachers, and that she was like the best teacher. Everybody loved her. Well, she quit. She quit next year. So in 8th grade, she quit. Rowan was still a douche. But this time we started telling the principal every single time. Now you may think we're title tellers, but seriously, this was getting really bad, like to the point of breaking. I was starting to get depressed and suicidal. So in the middle of 8th grade, I actually left to go to treatment for 3 weeks before I had to fly out here to Colorado to be with my mother to see if I wanted to live here. But the thing is, once I left the state, Prairie Care, the place I went, had to legally discharge me because if I was well enough to travel, I was well enough to leave. So I only had 3 weeks of therapy, and just being at this place, you were not allowed to touch. You had group therapy, family therapy, alone therapy every single day. Like, you were not allowed to have contact with these people outside of Prairie Care. Otherwise, it was like an offense. Like, you had to sign a contract, you had to sign this, that, and the other thing. Well, friends from my school started coming there. Like, one of my best friends, Eric, came there like 2 days before I had to leave. One of my bullies, actually, Miyari, came and we became friends, but not at school, obviously, because she didn't like nobody liked me. I came back and my friends were really excited. I'm like, has Rowan been doing anything? They're like, no, not really. Ever since you've been gone, he's kind of been just leaving us alone. I'm like, oh my god, hallelujah, thank you so much. And I'm so sorry that you guys had to, like, go through all of this horrible shit. So, when I got back, the bullies started being less mean to me. The perfect started messing with me less than they did. One of my best friend's cousins, Darian, we started doing more dances together and kind of hanging out more in the hallways. I started talking to the school's therapist and social worker almost every single day, and my grades were absolutely horrible, but they kind of boosted because I just felt like I was finally safe or safer in this environment. And that's when it happened. And my mother and my grandmother, like, no one knows that this happened except for like 3 people. So sharing this with you is kind of scary, but it needs to be said. I almost got raped by Rowan, actually. What happened, by the way, Rowan's my ex-boyfriend. What happened is we were backstage in the scene shop, which is like, okay, where they build like the sets for the plays, because we were in plays together, like all the time, and he would like not pay attention to me backstage. But what happened is we were both back in the scene shop, like, like kind of after school, but like school wasn't let out yet, but it was sort of like after school, so the teachers weren't really paying attention as much. So we both like went back into the scene shop, and I'm not even sure why. I was just so stupid. I don't know why I did this. I just felt like he had changed. I learned that he was bipolar, and I just kind of, I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe that this is one of his good days. Apparently it wasn't, because what happened is we were talking, and then he started like pushing me up and like trying to kiss me and kiss down my neck and stuff. Um, like I was like I am pretty strong. Like, I can defend myself. I know lots of styles of fighting, and I am not afraid to use them. But he was strong. Like, seriously, I did not expect this, and I was just like, what? How is he like this? So what happened is I was like being pinned against this huge garage door, because one of the garage doors led to outside and one of them led on stage. So what happened, I was like being pushed against this outside garage door, and like he was just like trying to like shove his tongue down my throat and give me hickeys, and finally I was just like, get off. So I tried to pick up my backpack because it was on the floor. I always wore my backpack. But the thing is, he grabbed my wrist, sat down, and tried to pull me on him, and I'm like, no, Rowan, let go. So finally what happened is I like wrenched my hand away, but what happened is he pushed me on a table backstage and started grasping my breast, and what happened is he actually broke my bra and ripped the bottom of my shirt. And I don't even know if he knew, but he did. And like he was trying to get in my pants, but I was wearing skinnies and a belt, so he didn't. Thank the Lord, he didn't get in my pants. But like he was like groping my boob since he ripped my bra and had his arm stuffed up my shirt and was still trying to kiss my neck. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck off me. This is not okay. So what happened is I elbowed backwards and I fucking ran. I ran into the bathroom and I texted Kayla, and she doesn't go to the same school as me really badly because I needed her. I was like, I had an anxiety attack in the bathroom. And I was just in the big stall and I was like shaking and crying and so confused. I was just like, holy shit, that just happened. What? Like, I am not an attractive person. What the fuck made him do this? So finally, I was just like, this must have been revenge or something like that because we broke up and it was my fault, or he thinks it was at least. And I was just so scared, so I did not leave that bathroom until school let out. And all my friends were just searching high and low for me because I was supposed to be with them, and then I was supposed to be in orchestra, so the teachers were looking for me. And I was like, I'm really sorry, I just had an anxiety attack. And they're like, oh god, why? I'm just like, I don't know. All of a sudden, I just had this big anxiety. Pretty much, I just spun this huge lie, and I don't even know why. I think I was just so scared to say that I almost got raped by someone who I had been getting along with and was my ex-boyfriend, and his mother was, like, I loved his mother. His mother was amazing, and, like, we had been in school together for, like, 5 years. Together for 5 years. Like, we'd been together for 2 years. We'd been in school together for 5 years. We've been friends for so long, and I think I was just so afraid to say this, just, like, because that would make it true. Like, this happened. Like, he's insane. Like, he's insane. So what happened is later on Kik, he texted me this picture of this boner in his pants and was like, thanks for leaving me like this. I'm like, I didn't want to leave you like anything. I didn't want that. I did not want that in any way, shape, form. I don't want you to do nothing with me. I don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to talk to me. Luckily for me, there was like 2 weeks of school left. The last week of school would be a complete breeze, and it wasn't even a full week, so I was like, you know what? Get through these weeks, get through these days, get through these hours. He's barely in class. You know this. You barely have to be around him. Just don't talk to him. Just talk to one of your other friends in the class. So pretty much I was like this with Jaden, who's one of the only people who knew that this almost happened to me, and I didn't know what to do. So my grades were bad again at the end of the year, and my grandma was like, if you don't get your so finally what happened is my grandma looked at my grades on Schoolview. So what happened is she slapped me, she punched me, which wasn't anything new, but this time it I she had left marks before, but this was like really bad. She was screaming at me, she was yelling at me, she told me that I was worthless, she told me that I was stupid, she told me that she didn't even want to see me, get out of her sight, and I had been clean for like a year. So what happened is I took her hair cutting scissors, I went into the bathroom, drew a bath, and just sliced my legs. Just I sliced them to fucking ribbons. And the next day I went to school and they were really bad. Like they hurt like so bad. I couldn't my clothes just hurt. It hurt to walk because my clothes were rubbing like against them. It just hurt so bad. So what happened is I just went to the nurse. I'm like, look, it's like one of the last days of school. Please, can you just bind these for me? She's like, bind what? I'm like, I cut myself again. So what happened is we go back in the back room, and it turns out I had like 26 cuts on my leg. And I'm really sorry if this is triggering for people, but I had like 26 cuts on my legs. She bound them up, and she's like, you know we have to call your grandma, right? I'm like, can we call one of my other emergency contacts? We ended up calling my godmother, and everything was okay. But it's just like, this is not how I wanted my last days of 8th grade to go. I mean, like, I'm leaving in like 2 weeks to go live with my mother for 4 years, and then I'm off to college, and I want to go to college in New York, so I'm not going to see these people for a long time. I do not want this to be this way. I do not want my friends to see me like this. I do not want my friends to think that I'm not okay to go to my mother's. I want them to know that I will be okay. But I wasn't. So I didn't know what to do. I was so confused. Because it's like I have lived 12 years with my grandmother. But it's just like, in that moment, I was just like, what? So, finally, what happened is, we called my godmother, and she knew, and she was the only one who knew, and it was the last day, and it was one of the last days of school. So on the last day of school, we had a huge dance. We said bye to my friends. A week later, we had a going away party for me, which was absolutely amazing. My friend May threatened to chain me to the garage so I wouldn't leave. And then I flew here, and here I am, and everything here has been absolutely wonderful. It's been a dream here. My mom understands. She ran away when she was like 12, 13, and was granted by the court, like, she was 18. She could live by herself when she was like 13. So she understands why why it was so stressful for me to live with my grandmother. And, like, so that's really my story. So, I mean, I guess thanks for listening, and this is not for your pity, this is not for anything, this is 1,000,000,000% true. Everything in this story happened, and there's probably more details I'm leaving out. Like, I'm trying not even to talk about my dad, because he gave me anxiety. He is sort of in this story, which I probably should have told, but, you know, I just couldn't. I just could not. I just tried to make the last couple weeks I had in Minnesota the best I could. I got together with a church group of friends that I really liked. We had a going away party for me. I got together and had sleepovers with a lot of old and just around regular good friends. We went out to eat at a lot of places, and I just tried to make the best of it, of everything I could, and I feel like I did, and I'm glad that I'm here now. And I'm glad that I get to start my YouTube channel now that I'm here, and I feel like I'm in a very safe environment. So, I don't know. I guess I just kind of wanted you to know my story. And if you feel like you want to know more, then, I don't know, you can comment below, and I promise I'll try and get back to you. And this actually went better than I thought. I thought I would be crying right now, and I'm kind of not. My voice is kind of cracking, but that's it. So, again, thank you so much for watching. It means so much to me. Again, I swear to God, all of this is true. I swear to God. And I know a lot of you had it way worse than me, and if you feel free to share your stories with me, with a video message or just in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. It means so much to me.